About 2 months ago, I put up a video. It was up for a couple days, and then it was gone. And I got a bunch of questions on my social media. What happened to the video? I was in the middle of watching it. What happened? I can finally tell you what happened to that video. And we're gonna get into it right now. Before we get going, just a little insight in how I'm going to handle this video. And the way I want to handle it is just by telling you a story and telling you what happened in my relationship with L'Occitane and, where it all kind of went wrong. Let me just go ahead and start off by saying the only product I'd ever tried before I was offered to do a sponsored video with L'Occitane was their hand cream, and my daughter had used it and she absolutely loved it. My daughter's 10 and she gets very, very dry hands in the winter, and this hand cream was wonderful for her. There was one winter we were using it, I think she was about 7, and her hands were like, they were cracking and bleeding because they were so dry. And I had gotten, I think, a sample in a subscription box or something. I'd gotten one somehow that I didn't physically pay for, and we tried it and we were like, oh my gosh. So immediately I went on to, I think, Birchbox's website at the time. I can't remember where I bought it. I don't remember, but I immediately bought her one because it was so amazing for her. So when L'Occitane, well, not L'Occitane, but a PR company that was working for L'Occitane contacted me and asked me if I wanted to do a sponsored video for them, I was really excited. I know that good skincare is an investment, and I think that's why I wanted to do a good job with this video, and I wanted to find out and really figure out whether these products were truly worth the money that they were advertising. The PR company contacted me and offered me a set dollar amount along with commission of sales. In return, I would create 2 videos. One video for the Immortelle line, which I will put a photo of that line there. That was 5 products, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 5 products. And then one for the almond line, which I will show a picture of that there. The target date range of when I was supposed to upload that video was between February 15th and March 20th. And then for the almond range, it was supposed to be March 21st through April 10th. So now I'm going to show you an email that this is very typical of emails that I send out to brands when they reach out to me for a sponsored video. So if someone accepts this, then they're legit. So here we go. This is what it says. I'll put on the screen now. Thank you for contacting me regarding a review of L'Occitane products. I would be happy to produce the requested content. Because the deadline is so close and I didn't know when I was going to be getting the products, I said I will not be able to speak to the full effects of the products. However, I will be able to give my viewers a rundown of ingredients as well as a first impression of texture, scent, etc. This will be an honest video based on research and initial impressions. I'm looking forward to learning what L'Occitane has to offer. And that was accepted by the PR company. They did send me an agreement to sign. The contract was extremely simple, and it was actually signed by myself and the PR company. L'Occitane wasn't listed as someone to sign, so that adds into the story a little bit later. So it says that I will agree to provide those 2 videos for them, and then they will pay me the specific dollar amount. Also, I was giving rights to L'Occitane to use my video in any way that they chose, and also I had to provide an FTC disclaimer. That is all that was on the contract that I signed. And that is very important, that is all that was on the contract that I signed. The products arrived to me on March 8th, and in the time between March 8th and March 20th, the video deadline, I needed to try the products, research the products, film the video, and edit the video. It wasn't a big turnaround time, and if you know anything about skincare, it does take a while to see results from skincare. The cleansers, I would be able to give you a little bit more of a review because I could talk about how it washed my makeup off, how it made my skin feel, things like that. The skincare, I was really just going off of texture and scent, like I had said in the original email. Within the box, they did give a couple of cards that had information on each ingredient, just a basic blurb, kind of like you would read on a Sephora or an Ulta website about what the product does. After I received the box, I did get some additional clarifying talking points for the video from the PR company. So one thing was there were specific brands I was not allowed to mention in the video that were competitor brands. I have no problem with that. It was an exclusive video specifically for that product. I had no problem with that. Also, I needed to make sure sure I hashtagged when I shared, added the right L'Occitane account. And again, they reiterated the FTC disclaimer because that is really, really important. Another thing that they mentioned was they didn't want me to mention the almond line in the first video. So I emailed them and I was like, hey, I kind of want to use it as like a teaser for the next video. Is that all right with you if I just mention it at the very end? The PR company got back to me and they said, yes, it's fine as long as it's only a quick mention of it and that there is another video about it. No problem. So I'm thinking I'm good and grand and good. I spent so many hours researching the ingredients for the Immortelle line. There was so much that I didn't recognize, that I didn't know, including the Immortelle flower, which is what the line is based on. So I did all this research. I filmed. I spent a lot of time editing it. I had pictures flying in. I had text flying up. I had screenshots of different things I had researched. I mean, I put a lot into this video, so much into this video. I was really proud of it. I knew that I had been true to myself. I had been honest in the video. I'd given you both the positives and some negatives for the products like I always do with every review that I do. The response to the video from people that watched it was overall very positive. People really enjoyed the video, except for there were a couple of people that were a little upset with the way that I described L'Occitane's cruelty-free status. The way that I worded it, I can see why some cruelty-free consumers would have been a little bit like, come on, Jen. What I said was that L'Occitane does not test on animals, but they do sell in China, and in China, mandatory animal testing is a law on imported products. So any products from foreign companies to be sold to Chinese consumers must be tested on animals. So I did mention that in there, but I also mentioned something that I found, I think it was on Cruelty Free Kitty, I can't remember exactly, or Leaping Bunny, I think it was Leaping Bunny, and it was that L'Occitane is working really hard with the Chinese government to work against animal testing and alternatives. I hadn't ever seen that in a statement before. Usually, like with L'Oreal and other brands, they'll say, we don't test on animals, but we don't stop people from testing on our behalf or something like that. And that's usually the limit of it, but I thought it was really cool that they were working internally on that. So everything's going well. I got an email from the PR company saying that they loved the video, they found it to be very informative, and they were looking forward to the next video. About 11:30 at night, I guess it was maybe 2 days after the video went live. Video had about almost 10,000 views at that point. I got a text message on my phone. I don't remember giving the PR company my phone number, but it's definitely possible that I did because I forget things sometimes. And it's a PR company, so I don't mind giving them my phone number. So I get a text message on my phone, Jen, you need to take the video down right now. What? What do you mean I need to take the video down? What are you talking about? So I immediately put the video on private, which means that I can watch it, but no one else can. Even if you have a link, you can't watch it. The only one that can watch it is me from my account. So I texted her back, oh my gosh, what happened? She said, well, I'm on my way to an event, the person from the PR company, but I will call you on Monday. I think this was like a Friday or something. Or a Saturday, I don't remember, but I think I put the video up on Thursday. Anyway, that's not important. So I kind of said, well, if you can get back to me before then, I'll really appreciate it because I'm kind of freaking out. So she actually called me instead of going, you know, she was on her way to an event, but she called me because she knew how upset I was. And I thought that was really nice of her to do that. She called me and she said, well, L'Occitane's not happy with your video. And I said, okay. I said, can you tell me why they're not happy? Well, you know, the whole thing, they didn't really like that you talked about them, their cruelty-free status. They didn't like that. Okay. And also the way you described their ingredients, you know, it wasn't what they wanted in the video. I said, well, was there anything not accurate in what I said? Well, you know, it's not that it wasn't accurate. I mean, I'm paraphrasing here. It's not that it wasn't accurate. They just didn't like what you said about the ingredients, and it could cause legal problems for them. It's like, okay, it could cause legal problems. Okay, all right. So do they want me to do the next video? And she says back, well, we're not really sure. So I said, okay, let me do this. This is what we'll do. I will do my research on the almond line. I will type up a sheet, you know, all my notes the way I normally do to film videos. I will type it up. I will send it to you. You can run it by L'Occitane, see what they say. So what I did was I trimmed down the cruelty-free spiel, and I just said L'Occitane's not cruelty-free. Moving on, because they're not. They sell in China, therefore they're not cruelty-free. I said they're not cruelty-free, and then I went into the ingredients like I always do. So this is what I get back from the company. Let me find it. Thanks for this, Jen. To confirm, you plan to include everything below in your video, knowing that ingredient claims and the cruelty-free elements were of particular sensitivity to them. What is a non-negotiable to you? And this was my response. Again, I will put it up on the screen for you. Honestly, person from the PR company, I don't think I can compromise my integrity on this one. I include cruelty-free status in all of my reviews. If I leave it out, I'll be betraying my own brand. Additionally, I always talk about ingredients that my viewers need to be aware of. Omitting this information would also be unusual and a betrayal of the trust that my viewers have in my content. So I guess I'm saying this is a non-negotiable. I would be willing to work with wording in order to correct any inaccuracies, but I am not going to sugarcoat/lie to my subscribers. When I signed up for this campaign, I was told I would, quote, share your L'Occitane products in 2 YouTube videos where creative control is entirely up to you. I accidentally left that part out, but that was in the initial email, was creative control is entirely up to you. This is what I have done and am willing to do for L'Occitane. If they are not okay with the conditions of the agreement, I understand, but I want to make sure they know I am not the one in breach of contract. I have and am offering to provide exactly what I signed up to do. They are changing the rules in the middle of the game. To the person in the PR company, I do appreciate you working with me on this, and I'm so sorry that it has come to this. I'm glad that we can work through this and learn together, and then I signed it. And I heard back maybe a day or two later that L'Occitane did not want me to make the second video, and not only did they not want me to make the second video, they were not going to pay me at all, nothing, for all of the work I did creating the first video. And my heart started beating. I was like, I worked really hard on that video. They're gonna pay me, you know? Like, because that was the deal, you know, is that I make the video and they pay me. That was all that was basically in the contract, and now they're breaking the contract. So I was livid. I was absolutely livid. I texted the person from the PR company and I said, this is absolutely ridiculous. I said, if they are not going to pay me, then I'm going to be getting my lawyers involved. And that was what I said. And I meant it too. It was the fact that they were going to just run away and say, you know, and treat me like that. How dare they treat me like that? You know, that was what I was thinking in that moment. How can they do that to me? I have done a job. You don't hire a plumber to come over to your house and do a job, and then after they do it, and they've done it well, and they've fixed the pipes exactly what you did in the contract, but they didn't use a specific kind of pipe, so you're not gonna pay them, even though you never told them to use that specific kind of pipe. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do that. You don't do that. It's illegal. You don't do that to people. So I was really, really mad. Eventually, I got on the phone with the PR company. At this point, I haven't talked to L'Occitane at all. The PR company has been talking to them the entire time, and they told me it was gonna be a short phone call, and I was busy, and I was like, okay, if it's gonna be a short phone call, fine. I was making dinner for my kids, and I was on my way out the door, and I was on this phone call, and I was just livid. It was not a good time for me to be on that kind of phone call. And I went off and I was like, this is absolutely ridiculous. So what ended up happening, long story short, was that I got a text message from the PR company later that night, and they said that they would pay me the money from the collaboration in full. And that L'Occitane would not pay me, but that they would pay me. And I don't know like what their logic was behind it, because I don't feel like it's my place to ask why they chose to do that. And I don't know if they would tell me if I did ask. So I have been paid, just not by L'Occitane. So now this is where I'm gonna kind of interject some of my opinions. Up to this point, it has all been fact. Even if it has been the fact that I felt a certain way in the situation, it has all been fact. So this is the way I feel right now. It's possible that the PR company didn't share the information from my initial email before product was sent. It's possible they did not share that with L'Occitane and approved it within the company rather than sharing it with L'Occitane, because I did do exactly what I said I was going to do before the product was even sent. So if there was a problem with that, then products never should have been sent in the first place. So I do feel like the PR company is at fault in some way, in that somehow there was a communication breakdown, and I didn't speak to L'Occitane. L'Occitane didn't speak to me, so it was something within the PR company. Where I have a problem with L'Occitane is the fact that they expected it to be a glowing review, that they saw me as an employee rather than an independent contractor, which is what I am. and that bothered me. My reviews cannot be bought, period. And I guess they didn't know that, because there are a lot of influencers that you can pay them for a positive review. That's not to say other people in this campaign were paid for a positive review. There was nothing in the contract that said it had to be a positive review. So other influencers that spoke through this campaign, they probably didn't know. You know, they just did what they do, and there was no way for them to know it had to be a positive review either. I want to make sure that that's clear, because I don't want any other influencers to think bad about them because of my experience. They do need to beef up their online social media presence. They need to, if they're going to survive in 2018. They've got to do it. I just feel like L'Occitane doesn't know what they're doing when it comes to social media presence. They don't know what they're doing, because if they did know what they're doing, they wouldn't have done what they did to me. They would have known better, because you just can't do that, because your trust, the people's trust in you and your brand is everything. It's everything. And if you betray that trust, people don't forget. They don't. And it was just not a smart move on their part. I mean, they are a multi-million-dollar, maybe even billion-dollar brand. I wasn't getting paid that much. It was the principle of it, you know, that they didn't want to pay me because of what I said. And, you know, I did go into things about the ingredients that may not have been positive, and it was based on the research that I did. And I have cosmetic chemists that are subscribed to this channel. I have people that are in biology and scientific fields and doctors subscribed to this channel. They expect me to give the best information on these ingredients. So I make sure I work really, really hard to use the best sources possible, scientific sources, when I give you information. And when I can't find anything that says the Immortelle flower will do anything for your skin, I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that it's going to keep you young and beautiful just because the flower doesn't wilt. It doesn't. I'm not going to do that. That's ridiculous. And if they expect anybody to do that, then they need to really rethink whether they want a social media presence at all, because that's not how it works. Well, on some channels it works that way. So, just not on this one. So at this point, will I ever buy anything from L'Occitane again? Oh, heck no. And a big reason why is because I actually found an alternative to that hand cream that I loved, and it's from Shea Moisture, and it's really inexpensive, and it works just as good as the expensive L'Occitane stuff. So that was the only product I would have continued to buy. I'm no longer going to purchase that, and I'm not going to purchase anything else at their overpriced prices. Yes, there are some expensive ingredients in there, but I really think they need to formulate with the best skincare benefits, not the fancy ingredients. Just because it's fancy doesn't mean that it works. Just because it's marketable doesn't mean that it works. And we as consumers need to make sure we are being smart about what we're purchasing and stop with the gimmicks. Stop with the gimmicks. So even though L'Occitane may not think I'm advertiser friendly, and that's the truth. So I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you got some good information out of it. I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below, what you thought of this situation. Do you feel like L'Occitane was in the right in any way? Do you feel like I was in the wrong in any way? You know, where are you thinking? Because I am a very fluid, flexible thinker. And if you see that I made any mistakes along the way, I really would love to learn from you and see how I could have done things better. I mean, I personally don't see anything at this point, but that's where the collective brain comes in the collective brain of makeup awesomeness, where we help each other to learn about things. So feel free to teach me from your perspective. Everybody has different points of view, different experiences, and I'd love to learn from you. So thank you again so much for watching this video. Mad love to you, and I will see you in a video very, very soon.